Well, hello, good people. Thank you for joining me on another walk, and thank you for joining me on what will be the third and final installment of our Stour River walk, which has seen us go from the source of the Stour River in Lenham, and we'll see us end today in Pegwell Bay, where the river meets the North Sea. I'm starting this walk in Canterbury. There is the Stour River just behind me. I'm on a pretty noisy street, so I apologize for that, but let's get going. It's going to take us all day. It's a good 20-mile walk today, so let's get going.
So here's a little visual of our journey. So we start in Canterbury and we'll make our way out of Canterbury through the woods over to Fordwich. And from Fordwich we make our way to Stodmarsh and the nature reserve. And then at the nature reserve we head over towards Grove Ferry, which is where we had lunch. Now here, instead of following the Stour Valley Way, which is in blue, I diverted to the Saxon Shore Way because it hugs the river more than the Stour Valley walk did. So you come off slightly there at Pluckscutter, and then at Pluckscutter you get back on. And you just walk all the way along the Stour. And here we're getting close to Sandwich. Here I'm getting absolutely mobbed and destroyed by mosquitoes. And then we actually rejoin the Stour Valley there and right into Sandwich.
We're making our way through the woods here that sit between Canterbury and Fordwich. I've done this route before on other walks, so I know it roughly. But going through these woods is actually really annoying because there's so many different little paths and trails people have made. And it's hard to figure out which is the right one to go down, even with a digital map. So it takes a bit of experience. It's especially hard when it's dark, but I think we've pulled it off here today in one seamless first try. Bright sun means it's time for the Tilly Hat. Well, this is great. So that mother has just run over to, I mean, these two calves literally look like they're still wet. I mean, they may have literally been born hours ago. So they're all heading over towards them. I need to go that way, so I may try and go straight down once they sort of pool up on this side. Looks like they're all females. I can see the udders, but yeah, they're not super impressed. Right, seems okay. No one's charging me, so I think we'll be all right. So we've made it to Stodmarsh, marsh being a key word there. And yes, we're heading down a hill now on our way towards the Stour. The current time is 12:20 p.m. and I have found myself a sundial. Let's see how accurate this sundial is. I guess that's pretty accurate. That's probably about 12, yeah, about 12:10 maybe. It's not bad. I've walked through this nature reserve before. I've never seen anything particularly interesting, but I'm still holding out hope that one day I will see the elusive kingfisher. Have you ever seen a kingfisher in the wild? Some interesting things about the river now. Well, really from Fordwich, just past Fordwich, the river becomes tidal. And around Grove Ferry, the Little Stour, which is a smaller tributary of the Stour, meets up with the Great Stour, which is the river that we've been following, and becomes the River Stour. And it stays that way all the way out to Pegwell Bay. Lunch today is sort of a estilo español, tapas style. Kind of a mix of different things to pick on: bread, hard-boiled eggs, some Spanish crisp there, some cheese, some tomatoes from the garden, some dates. And in there is some chorizo I bought from the Good Shed this morning. So yeah, it should fill me up. Maybe it's worth reflecting on how much scenery has changed, and indeed the river's changed since we began our walk in Lenham. From a little trickle coming out of a pond, a spring-fed pond, to, a pretty wide river here. You could easily get small boats down this, motor boats, and you see them. Interesting as well how in Lenham we started high up, obviously. And the water now, the river's made its way down into flat marshes as we get closer and closer to the sea. And of course the river is much wider now. I'm back on a path that I remember I've done before. We're going towards Plugscutter. This here is actually the Little Stour. We're about to meet the Great Stour. So we're heading towards Plugscutter, where the Little Stour and the Great Stour come to a confluence and turn into the River Stour as it makes its way towards Pegwell. Here, you see on the right, looks like there's a little channel, and straight ahead was where I was, the Little Stour. So there's the Little Stour meeting the Great Stour to become the River Stour. We'll go this way now towards Pegwell. You're not going to believe me. I think I just saw a kingfisher. I'm sure there's a kingfisher in this tree, but I don't know how I can see it now. And I can't get to that side of the river either. All right, we're going to follow this thing all the way around to Sandwich. Just on the other side of the river here, I'm not sure if you can tell, but that line of trees is up on a sort of mound. Okay, that's called Abbott's Wall. And the Abbott's Wall was likely a seawall built by the Abbots of St. Augustine to help prevent the Stour from flooding the Minster marshes. And it dates back to the 13th century, not quite sure when, but there is documentation of this wall, seawall, going back to 1293. Way over there you can see the spire. That's St. Mary's Minster, which is a mother church actually. It's quite important. And there's an old monastery in Minster. This thing across the river, it looks like there's a ladder that goes up to, I don't know, like a little hutch or something. Is that for people to sit in and look out? What is that thing? If anybody knows, let me know. It's in the middle of nowhere in the Minster marshes. Put my hat back on because the mosquitoes are swarming here. Now, I found this abandoned building. Don't know what it was. It's quite rare you get good graffiti. So, quite like this one. Excellent medieval style graffiti. Maybe they're telling the story of how St. Augustine brought Christianity to the Saxon king.
Sandwich Toll Bridge is a Grade II listed road swing bridge that opened in 1755 on a site that had been a crossing for centuries. It's had several iterations. The current swing bridge opened in 1892, and tolls were taken as recently as 1977. At the base of the bridge lies the city's Barbican.
Well, hello, good people. Thank you for joining me on another walk. On the same walk, but it's another walk. All right, well, I've cheated here. Let me explain. So I did 23 miles, Canterbury to Sandwich. To get out to the nature reserve and get a better shot of the mouth of the Stour was another 2 miles from town. The sun was going down. I was already exhausted. Then I had to, of course, get back into town, and it just wasn't happening that day. It was all a bit too much. So I said, let me come back on another day, walk around the nature reserve. We'll try and get some nice shots of the mouth and get as close as we can to it. So that's what we're doing today. In fact, just behind me is Pegwell Bay Nature Reserve. We're walking around to it now, and it's low tide. I don't know if that's going to make it harder or easier to see the river, but let's go around, let's get some shots and see how close we can get to it. Well, I'm just walking alongside the mouth now. It's just beyond me here, through marsh and mud, and I don't think I'm gonna really get much closer than this. It's all sort of marshland in between here and the river, and you can't go out there. But you can see a sort of glistening, shiny mud banks. That's the river there, and follow that along. And there's the mouth. There's where it exits out to Pegwell Bay and to the North Sea. Right, so that's it. The Stour River complete, 60 odd miles from Lenham to Pegwell Bay. I hope everybody enjoyed it and found the walk maybe somewhat interesting and somewhat different. So thank you very much for watching. More walks coming soon. Stay tuned. I'm trying to wait for things to get a bit more autumnal and for the scenery to change a bit, but it's currently 23 degrees outside in early October. So, I mean, I'm not really complaining. I'm here by the sea. It's very nice, but I'm trying to wait for things to change a bit before I go on another walk. But I've got some interesting, exciting walks planned, so please stay tuned for that. And until then, thanks for watching. Bye, everybody. Bye, bye, bye.